Welcome, Kwayok.
Thank you.
I understand that you have been a teacher, firstly in a secondary school, and then much later in polytechnic.
Yes.
So these are two different scenarios. One is for students, and the other for closer to adult learners. And you learned cooperative learning in a course that I conducted. And after learning it, you put it into practice both in the school and later on in the polytechnic.
Right.
Could you tell me what you discovered as you implemented cooperative learning in both scenarios?
I'm so glad that I attended the course because it really helps me in the students or the class management rather, because sometimes, especially when you ask the students to participate, only the same few will be participating. So with the CL, it really helps to get this different student involved because there's a different roles for them. So time management is better, class management is better, and then student interaction is also better because then others got a chance to participate in the activity, not just the same few, that kind of thing, and they learn to work together as a team.
And how did it affect yourself as a teacher as you implemented CL or cooperative learning in the classes, and especially in how you plan your lessons and conduct it?
I think in the first place, you know that you're going to run the class according to CL way, so you manage your time better, and so it's more organized, and you roughly know what to expect from the outcome. Because you already plan how your students should be interacting and what should be done.
Right. So I think the best way in which we can learn about CL is to watch an actual classroom situation. So we are going to see a classroom scenario which actually happened. We both were there, and the teacher is Mrs. Zane, who implemented cooperative learning in the classroom. In this recording, we will be able to see the dynamics of cooperative learning, and we will talk about the dynamics that happened in the classroom. We will also be showing and commenting on snippets and parts of the class, pointing out how CL structures actually work, because CL structures is the core of how a core CL class actually happens. And we'll see the structures, the methods, and watch the actual situation in which the teacher and the student are involved in this scenario of a CL that is conducted in the class. So we're going to watch the first one. This is a first scene, which is probably going to be the starting of the class.
Right. You will see students placed in their cooperative teams of 4 to 5 people to work together. You see them brainstorming on the task that was given by a teacher at the beginning of the class.
Well, from this snippet, you might have observed that the students were playing their individual assigned roles, which is one of the very important things, that everybody in the team must have a very specific role. And you also saw that the discussion was free and open. Every member of the team could contribute to the discussion. They are actively involved in the brainstorming time. The teacher gave a task, and they all got involved, discussing it, contributing together in what was the task for the team. We will now see how the open discussion and roles played earlier now will progress to more specific actions, because everyone must do a very specific task. Listen carefully if you can on what the students' interactions are like.
And then, what will happen after if you do?
What if they say, if you put your card,
I put the lights are half.
lights are on. So much fake, don't want to explain to me.
Huh?
Reputation.
Fame is like being famous and popular. Okay, next.
In this clip, you will see that the recorder clarified the group's decision, a great answer, and then putting down on paper for all to see. And the negotiation is done. There's a social dynamics, and that keeps the interaction alive. And the class is also, everybody has a chance to say something, especially in the group, and then they agree upon it. Then they write the answers onto the paper. So it's important to note that the roles are also not fixed all the time, the same person, but there is a rotation. It's not a permanent post all the time. So that each students will have the chance to learn or have the opportunity to play the different role as encourager, recorder, reporter, and runner, and other roles that are given according to the task assigned. Before the next one, which we are using the graphic organizer. So the following clip, you will observe another group in discussion. They also use a graphic organizer to record their group's finding as they brainstorm their answer. This graphic organizer helps the student to make their thoughts visible, so that as they discuss, they can see what has been done and they put it down on the paper. Yeah.
One more minute.
The graphic organizer is a thinking tool that is very effective. It helps the student to be more intentional in their thinking. And when they put it down into paper in the graphic organizer, it becomes explicit to them. In this case, you've watched it just now, it was the cause and effect kind of graphic organizer. In this class, they use a pen and paper, which is the traditional method of recording. But if teachers have the use of tablets and other electronic devices, of course, they can use available apps that will then produce much better graphic organizers. And so the product has an added dimension of production that is of a higher level. And that will be very helpful to bring them closer to the actual real world situation where people have to produce quite good products to present to people. In the next clip, we will see that the teacher allowed the runner from each group to visit other teams in the class to see what have been written down or brainstormed by the other groups. And then he would take it home to his own home base group that could then be added on to their own findings.
Spice, do not go back to your group until the 90 seconds is over. Go and spy. See anything you want to be valuable for you.
What you like, get what you like.
Don't copy everything. see what you think is important. Don't copy everything. Spy. I want to spy.
Yeah, not good enough.
I think you also notice that a timer is being used by the teacher to regulate the time allocated for the runner to visit the other group. So this is an important part in managing activities. So that's why class management does become better when there's a time allocated for the student, so that they know there is a time limit even in doing the activity. And the sharing of ideas also promote generosity in learning and teaching others, because CL also promotes peer learning and teaching. The source doesn't need to be from the teacher himself or self, but also from student to student. So that's the beauty of CL, cooperative learning. Sorry, yeah. So watch this clip and see how a runner functions.
In the previous clip, did you notice that the runner was asking questions to the group that he visited? This is very important for the runner to practice, because he or she needs to clarify the answer that was written down in the paper. What is written down in the paper could be understandable to the members of the team, but not necessarily to somebody who just looks at the writing. So he asked questions to clarify before returning to their own team, because he has to report. And the team members might also ask him to clarify on what he was saying. So this requires very good dynamics of thinking, critical thinking, and also creative thinking. To be able to think, he or she will also need to ask pertinent questions to clarify matters and thoughts. Well, we are going to watch now as the lesson develops. We want to watch how the runners return to their own teams after visiting other teams, and they report their findings and what they learned from the other teams.
Share information now. Based on the information you got, you also need to make sure that it's not fake news. Make sure that it's correct information. 2 minutes for you to add on, and then this paper is done. Go. 2 minutes for you to share. See what is important and what is not important.
So it's no okay, so this is what does misinterpretation mean?
You 1 minute to wrap up your project.
So as the runner returns to his own team, he has to share what he has collected from other teams, and also when he shared with the rest of his team members, the other team members need to be open-minded, in the sense that they have to also ask critical questions whether they should or change their answers that they have written down. That's where they have this learning and unlearning and relearning kind of thing, and critical thinking is needed, so that at the end of the day, the collective decision also need to be negotiated, and they need to determine, because this is a team kind of effort. Yeah, so for the next one, for the video that we're going to watch, will be, you see how the teacher proceed to the next CL structure. They call it the blackboard share, but adapted for the presentation later. And the runner of the team will ask to come out and draw their team symbols that will be used later.
you will have noticed that the symbols that were used need to be simple and easy to replicate. So if it's complicated, it takes too much time and it's difficult to reproduce exactly as it is. So it must be simple. But the teacher does give them the liberty as a team to decide on what kind of symbol they would want to use. I think that's very important because empowerment for them to make decisions, especially as a team, is a good opportunity to practice consensus. That means the whole team agrees on an answer. So they need to negotiate during that time. Well, in the next clip, the teacher now progresses and he uses another CL structure called gallery walk. Now, this is very well known by a lot of people. So he gives clear instructions before he releases the team to walk around. Now this time they walk around as a team to evaluate the work of the other teams. Just now it was just one runner who went to visit, but now it is a team effort. They walk together from one table to another, watching and learning and discussing together, evaluating which is the best product that they together agree on.
One more rule, please. You have to move in a group, so you cannot scatter. Your group go together. See here together, see here together, see here together. And decide together as a group which one you want to give the start. Your symbols, right? Go. 3 minutes. Yes, go as a group. Go as a group. Where's your group?
For gallery walk, the teacher needs to keep reminding the students to stay as a team. You know, students, they like to stray, going on their own way. But the reminder is very important so that the children will continue to learn to evaluate things together and come up with a decision where they all agree to know which is the best work that they have seen and give the evaluation. Yeah, so for the next one, the next video, whereby you will see how the student evaluate as a team and move from one work to another.
So in this clip that we have just watched, this is part of what we call peer evaluation. Normally, evaluation is seen as something that is done by the teacher and solely the teacher's responsibility. But in a cooperative learning class, we will find that there are opportunities, according to certain structures, to evaluate the work produced by their peers. And the students are so empowered to do so. As the students go about evaluating the work of other teams, the teacher, you will have noticed, also moves around looking at the products of the other teams. He moves around listening to the teams discussing about the work of other teams. And in the process, he himself also has to make evaluation. And this will be very important when the presentation is done to choose which is the best team. And he then understands what the other teams have produced, and he will be able to conduct the discussion in a more learned way. And he does the preparation during this presentation time for to bring out the lesson even more. Now, in this next clip, you observe how the teacher gets the student to tell their choice of what is the best work that they saw as and decided as a team. So watch as they the teacher conducts this presentation of what is the best work that they have received, and they decide in as a team.
The way that they presented, laid it out. Okay, how about the points? Anything that shines up? Okay.
Maybe if the guy take it too far, then
Okay.
that's not point.
So this is maybe not very accurate for you. And is their information more neat?
Like very simple and
Okay, very good. That makes sense. So if that one is simple, this is even more simpler. How will you choose this? What is that? Sorry? Starting, what about starting? Oh, there's nothing, no information. Sorry? Too little.
everything is summarized up. You don't have to waste your
I will pay now.
Okay, thank you very much.
I think it's important that teacher, when they have given them the role or the decision to choose which is the best, the teacher need to prod the students to give the reason why they choose that particular group work as the best. So the teacher need to challenge them to justify their choice. So that by doing so, it actually encourage critical thinking. And as the teacher listen to the children presenting the answers, the teacher can ask follow-up questions so that the students will be able to think even clearer or deeper, and also clarify their reasons for the choice that they have make. Yeah. So for the next video on summarizing the main point of the lesson, the coming one will be the teacher need to challenge the student how to summarize the main point of the lesson in whatever form they choose. So at the end, there is a closure. So the students need to sit and rethink again what is the main lesson after all the activities that has happened.
Okay, you can choose your own spy. Spy you can go. In your 1 minute.
So in the clip that we have just watched, I hope you noticed that some teams chose to use mind maps as they summarize what they have learned in the class. Others just use the traditional way of just listing out the points. Both are fine, I guess, because this is their choice.
Preference.
And so the freedom to make a choice and to choose is up to them. The teacher doesn't dictate, and this is the way you must do it. They choose and they make a decision. As a team, collectively, they are trained to make collective decisions. And that's important, I think, because when they go outside and work, they will have to work with other people as a team. And they will have to negotiate, to share, to deliberate, to discuss, and then finally come to a collective decision as to how they want to present their findings. Now, we are now reaching almost the end of the lesson as we see the students as they make their own conclusions. So watch this clip as you see how at the tail end of the lesson, the students come up with a conclusion, not necessarily just a teacher.
So you can see that the commonality of the conclusion of the lesson is that every team put it down on the paper, and this helps them to process the ideas that they have learned, the information that they have learned, and then they concretized it in the paper itself, and produce a summary that is meaningful to each of them. So for the last and final summary and comment, as we observe that CL structures really activates the students to engage in the lesson and the content of the topic. It's very important because learning can only happen when students actively process the information for themselves and also to produce their own unique graphic and summaries.
There's importance of class management, whereby the teacher, through the steps, is able to process and also proceed to the next part of the lesson at a pace that involves the students actively. And it is a reasonable pace in which the students are able to perform and do the task that is given to them.
So then also you can see that the students learn to work as a team, and then in each play their individual roles, and that's where the social learning happens. And in midst of it all, they know how to work as a class and the class as a whole.
In their own teams and also at the class. So both ways is important. Also, we have seen the use of graphic organizers. I think these thinking tools are excellent ways of promoting critical thinking, creative thinking, that is suitable as they process also the task to perform. It motivates them to think clearly. They are also constantly challenged to evaluate, make decisions as a team, as a collective decision, and also as they face problem-solving tasks, they have to work together. They contribute together, and that is why cooperative learning is so powerful.
Yeah, it does. And also in the actual lesson, you can see the power and value of cooperative learning. And we really hope that teachers will take this up and also take time to learn more about it and practice in the class. You will find it is worth it. Why? In the first place, it may be difficult initially because you need to set the system up. But once the student get used to it, your lesson will just fly. And it's because they understood what they need to do and they will understand the roles and what is it all about. So, and they'll also be more involved and you enjoy it more because you can see that they are active in their learning.
Yes, indeed. We have both tried it and used it, and we find that it is an excellent way in which to activate the whole class. But the important thing is that we must not introduce too many structures at one go. A lot of teachers fail because they try to do too much
ambitious
at one time. So your students need to be able to get used to a certain structure before you move on to another. And always teach them the name of the structure so that when you use it the next time, it will be much easier. So once you have these different structures that you have taught to your students, then you have a multivariate arsenal of methods and strategies in which you can get the whole dynamics of the class going. It's very engaging, it is very creative, it is always changing, always different. It is not just a static one way of chalk and talk, and you find that there will be a lot of opportunities to learn new materials in a very creative way and a very engaging way for the students. So we certainly hope that you as a teacher, you will have learned as you watch this actual classroom situation, which is not rehearsed but actually happened in a classroom. You will see that these cooperative learning structures are really very helpful to bring in a dynamism in your classroom, an engagement that is powerful for learning. So we hope you will be blessed and you will become the best teacher you can be for the glory of God. Keep on learning, keep on trying, keep on innovating, so that these structures and cooperative learning will become like second nature to you. You will be able to bring it out and use it in various situations and in various classes according to the need at that time. So we pray that you will be blessed as you try it out, and we will see you in the next video.